basics of shell scripts. What is a shell first of all? There are two prime components of Linux OS. One is the kernel, another is the shell. Kernel lies closer to hardware and the shell lies closer to the user. Both are the components of Linux OS, but the kernel do not understand the commands entered by the user. So the shell receives the commands, interprets it, and then give it to the kernel for execution. So shell provides an interface between the user and the kernel and executes the program called commands. So shell can also be called the command interpreter. We can write shell scripts. Shell scripts are nothing but a file which consists of series of commands to execute. So it is usually used to automate the task. Instead of writing a lengthy repetitive sequence of commands, it can be stored and executed anytime. The shell scripts may manipulate variables and you have iteration constructs also. So the extension of the shell script file is sh. How do you create a variable? It is the same as in any other language. So you can have small case letters, uppercase letters, numbers, and you can have an underscore. How do you define some value? So variable name equal to value. Here you can see that there should not be any space on either side of the equal to sign. So these are all the valid variable names. Ali, Ali, these two variables are different. And these are all invalid variable names. So a variable name should not start with a number. It should not have a hyphen. Here you can see that there is a hyphen again. How do you reference a variable? I am defining a variable name is equal to Alex Jane, name 1 is equal to Paul, CTR is equal to 1. This is a way of assigning value to a variable. How do I refer a variable? Here you can see that to refer a variable, it should be prefixed with the dollar symbol. So variable 2 is equal to dollar variable 1. So the content of variable 1 will be assigned to variable 2. Variable is equal to hello, echo dollar variable. This echo is to display the content of that variable. You can also use the curly braces for concatenation of variable value with a string. For example, I have a variable called 4 and 4shine. Suppose I give echo $4shine, then the value of this variable will be displayed. Suppose I enclose this 4 with the curly braces, then that value sun will be concatenated with the shine. So I display the sunshine. So these are some of the basic things about variables. How do you read a value into a variable? You can use the read command. Read variable name. An example is given. Your echo, enter your name, read my name, echo hello dollar my name. As I said, the variable must be prefixed with the dollar symbol to reference the value. So this will be the possible output. There are two types of variables, local variables and environmental variables. Local variables can also be called as the shell variables. These variables are used for configuring the shell itself. It can be used for storing data or command output. And it is local to a single shell by default. They are not inherited by child shells. They are stored in bash rc or .bash rc scripts. etc directory, and this is a current directory. Environmental variables. It is used to configure other commands or programs. They are usually inherited by the child shells. They are stored in etc profile and the current directory bash profile in bash login or .profile scripts. So we'll just see local variables with examples. So a variable is accessible only in the shell in which it is created. The subshells or the parent shell of the current shell cannot access the variable of the current shell. You can just see an example. So this is the prompt, shell prompt. I take a variable continent and assigning a value Africa. Suppose I am trying to echo that command, continent, I get a value Africa. Now here I can see that I give a command sh. That means I am creating a child shell here. Now if I try to execute this echo $continent, you get an empty line because this is the variable of the parent shell. The parent shell, it cannot be accessed within the child shell. Now I just create another variable continent and give it a value Asia. If I print that variable, I get a value Asia. Now I press Ctrl D. That means I'm exiting from the child shell. Now if I try to print that continent, I get a value Africa, not the value Asia here, because the variable which was assigned here is local to this child shell. So when I come out of the child shell, the continent assumes a value declared in the parent shell. So I get Africa again. Now I just give SH. I am trying to print that continent. Now also I get an empty line. So this example is to say that the variable cannot be accessed in the subshell. And similarly, the variable assigned here is not accessible in the parent shell. So how do I do that? How do I just want to inherit that? So I have an export command. This creates a copy of the variable name and values and passes the copy to a child shell. So the child shell can modify the value of the copy of the variable. When the child shell terminates, the copy of the variable also ceases to exist. So this generally means that you can have a variable in the parent shell by using the export command. That variable and its value can be copied and can be given to the child shell. Child shell can modify that, but when it terminates, the copy of the variable also ceases to exist. So here you can see that I have a variable continent, I am assigning a value Africa and then export that variable name. Now I just display that. I get Africa. I create a child shell and here I'm displaying it again. I get the answer Africa. If you remember in the previous case, when I just try to display that, I get an empty line. Since I have given a export command, the value of that variable and the variable is copied into the shell. Now I just change that value. Continent is equal to Asia and I'm printing that and I give a Control D. The parent shell will retain the previous value declared by it, not the value declared by the child shell. So it is a one-way communication. From the parent shell, you can copy a variable and its name and its value to the child shell. But whereas the child shell changes cannot be affected with the parent shell. Now we can see that environmental variables, they can also be called as a special variables. You can use these variables to edit, to configure the shell's environment and it can be used to customize the environment. These are all predefined environmental variables: home, path, PS1, PS2, log name. You can see that all these variables are given in the capital letter. What are the meaning for each of these variables? Path. Path, it contains a colon separated list of directories in which your system looks for executable files. Suppose I give a command, for example ls. The ls command has got a binary. It is stored in somewhere. For example, it is stored in a /bin. So the system must know where to look for the executable files. This information is given in the variable called path. So when a command is entered on terminal, the shell looks for the command in different directories mentioned in the $path variable. If the command is found, it executes. Otherwise, it returns with an error, command not found. Next variable is user. It gives a username. Then you have got a home. This is the default path to the user's home directory. PS1 and PS2, it is for the shell prompt. PS1 is the primary prompt and PS2 is the secondary prompt. So the primary prompt is always the dollar and the secondary prompt is always the greater than symbol. You have log name, shell level, then shell and env. These list the environmental variables and their respective values. So here I am given an example for path. So as I said, path contains colon separated directories. So here you can see that /bin, then you have got a user bin and then you have got a dot. That means if I give a command The command will be searched in the bin directory. If it is not there, it will be searched in user bin. If it is not there also, then it will be searched in the current directory. Here you can see that dot bin, then user bin. That means the command will be searched in the current directory's bin. So bin directory in the current directory, and then it will search for the user bin. Here you can see that slash bin, then dot, then user bin. That means it will be searched in bin and then in the current directory and then in the user bin directory. You can see that this path will always contain an absolute path. PS1 and PS2 variables, as I said, it is for the primary prompt and for the secondary prompt. So I am trying to change the primary prompt. So PS1 is equal to, within quotes I just give equal to greater than. So now here you can see that dollar symbol is replaced with the equal to greater than. Then SH. Here is PS2 is equal to triple greater than. So when I give SH, a new prompt, new shell is created, secondary shell is created, and then you get this symbol. So these are all the escape sequences and description. Slash t is to stand for current time, and slash d is the current time expressed as the weekday, month, date. So these special escape sequences can also be used along the PS1 and PS2. Here you can see that echo, this is a test. So here I have not completed the command. I have not given a closing quote. So when I give it in the next line, when I enter a line, so secondary prompt comes here. So this is a test. Here PS2 is equal to secondary prompt. I am trying to change the PS2 prompt. So when I say echo, this is a secondary prompt, then test. So what happens? So the PS2 is changed as a secondary prompt. So when I give a enter here, automatically you get a secondary prompt here. So actually this, just compare these two things. When I give an echo, this is a enter key, I get a secondary prompt. Then test. So the command is actually, this is a test. Here also the command is actually, this is a test. But since I have changed the secondary prompt, instead of this greater than symbol, I get secondary prompt hyphen greater than. I can also change this. PS2 is equal to this caret symbol. When I say echo, this is an incomplete. I have not completed that. So here I get a secondary prompt. Shell level variables. So this tells you in which shell level you are currently working in. That means in a parent shell you can keep on creating child shell. You create a child shell. In that child shell you create another child shell. Here you can see that echo shell level 1. So you are creating another child shell. Again you are trying to print that echo level, sorry, shell level. It gives 2. When you give an exit, it comes out of the child shell. So again if you try to print that, you get a 1. So the shell level variable tells you the level of the shell you are currently working in. And you have another variable called shell variable. This tells you the default shell of the user. You can say echo $shell. You get a bin bash. That means this is the default shell of the particular user. When I give env, it will just list out all the environmental variables and their respective values. Now we'll just see the next concept, command substitution. This is to combine more than one command in a command line. I have an echo statement or a command. So here I just want to print the date, current date. So here you can see that within quotes I give the date is, and then this date is prefixed or suffixed or enclosed with the backquote. That means this backquote tells the Linux to execute that command and place the output of the command here. So date command will be executed and the result will be placed here. So while executing the command, The shell first replaces the enclosed command with the output of the command and then shell executes the entire command. So this can also be written as this. The date is dollar and within parenthesis date. So both are same. Here also this will be executed and the output will be placed here. Now we are going to see EXPR command. This is to perform arithmetical operations. It simulates the numeric variables and evaluates the arithmetical expressions. There must be a space on either side of the operator. Here you can see that 4 space plus space 5. Similarly, there is a space before and after that symbol. Here you can see that EXPR 4 plus 5 we get a 9. Then you have a variable A, B which has got the value 5 and 9. When I say EXPR $A plus $B I get 14. Okay, so far so good. Then I have EXPR 5 minus 2, I get a value 3. Here is EXPR 4 slash star 2. What is that? Because this asterisk has got a special meaning, it has to be prefixed with a slash symbol here. What is the special meaning of this asterisk? It is a wildcard character. It stands for the files in the current directory. So we have to escape the special meaning. So I give 4 slash star 2. That means 4 multiplied by 2. You get a value 8. And then here you can see that I'm assigning the EXPR value to a variable. So A is equal to, I'm just enclosing it with the back quote, EXPR $B divided by 3. Here also I have EXPR $A minus 3. There is another example. Variable 1 is equal to 2.5. EXPR $variable1 plus 5. You may be expecting 7.5, but it gives a value only 7. You have arithmetical expansion. So to calculate the value of an expression, you can enclose it with the double parenthesis prefixed with the dollar symbol. Here you can see that dollar double parenthesis 45 is equal to 34. So it must be 45 plus 34, not equal to. So you get a 79. A is equal to 25, B is equal to 56. Echo, I am trying to add these two numbers, I get a value 81. Now we will see command line arguments. Command line arguments are nothing but the arguments given along with the command. What is the purpose of this command line argument? Instead of user entering the input during the execution of the program, you can give the arguments when you are giving the command itself. Here cat file 1, file 2, file 3 and file 4. That means I am trying to display the content of file 1, file 2, file 3 and file 4. So when I give a command like this, the command line arguments will be handled like this. So $0 stands for the command. That means cat. Then the first argument will be considered as $1, $2, etc. Then you get dollar within curly braces 10. That is if the argument is 10 and above. Here you can see that $0, it is a command or the script. $1 to 9, the arguments from 1 to 9. And then arguments 10 and further can be specified like this. You have dollar hash symbol. This stands for the number of arguments. Then you have dollar star. This stands for all arguments. Then dollar dollar, it is the PID of the running script. I just give an example. I give dot slash test.sh hello, how, to, do, you, do. These are all assuming that these are all the arguments. So this is the command. So $0 will be assigned to test.sh. $1 will be assigned to hello. This will be $2, $3, $4, $5 and $6. So yes, star will give you hello, how to do you do, and dollar hash gives a value 6. Now I can also use the shift command for shifting the command line arguments. So I am writing a general purpose program where I will be using the variable $1, but I want to get all the arguments, so I can use the shift command to shift the position of the positional arguments. So when I give the shift command, $2 will be shifted to $1 and $3 will be shifted to $2 and so on. So 10th argument will be shifted to $9. The same example I am giving here. When I say first, second and third arguments are $1, $2, $3, it will be displaying hello, how, to. When I give a shift command, now the $2, that is the second argument will be changed to $1. So the now new first argument after the first shift is how. When I give a shift, then the next argument will take as the first argument. So you have 2. 2 will become the $1 now. Thank you.